Good morning, BookTube, YouTube. This is Johnny. I thought I'd make another video of the bookcase in the living room here in our little hermit hut. It is 10:13 in the morning. It is August the 4th, 2023. It is a Friday. It is 77 degrees inside the hermit hut. Yeah, in 10 days, on the 14th of August, I'll be 71 years old. You can tell. That's one thing I tell people about BookTube and YouTube. There are not many old guys at least I know of, in BookTube. There's a couple of us. But most of them are just young people. But I'm an old guy. So I thought I'd show you, in my latest comments, some of you liked the bookcase shelf tour, and my Christian videos are not that popular. Most people like the most secular videos where I don't talk about Christian books or share my Christian faith, so I try to mix up the videos because I am a bookworm. I do read outside of Christian literature. I've always loved all kinds of books. And as you all know, I like history and biography and memoirs, letters, essay, literary criticism, poetry, art, things like that. I'm a man of many interests. So I'll stop my rambling. It is 10:15 in the morning. My wife went to church to fold church bulletins, and then she takes our granddaughter to the local park for tennis. So I'm by myself. So I'm on shelf 2. I showed you shelf 1. There's only 3 shelves in this bookcase. I thought next what I would do is show you over there are the art books. I used to have on our fireplace stacks and stacks of art books, and it was getting too crowded, and I had them on our coffee table. And now I just keep a few up here. I could fill a bookcase up with art books that I've collected over the years when volunteering at the Library Used Bookstore, the Book Nook. You don't find many art books when you go to thrift stores or book sales. You don't really see them, but I bought a lot over the years at the Book Nook, the Library Used Bookstore, which is now closed until April 2024. So anyway, here is shelf 2. In the shelf 2, you'll see there is what it is my Edith Wharton collection. So then we have Edith Wharton Motor Flight Through France. And this is selected letters. I didn't know where, I must have got this at the Book Nook, but it's selected letters. Motor Flight Through France. Atlas Pocket Classics. So I got Edith Wharton. And then Edith Wharton Summer. It's a novel that she wrote, Summer. It says in the back here, one of the first American novels to deal frankly with a young woman's sexual awakening. It was a publishing sensation when it appeared in 1917. Praised by Joseph Conrad, goes on and on. Compared to Madame Bouvier, anyway, it's called Summer. Then you have Edith Wharton, The House of Mirth, which she's very famous for. Edith Wharton, The House of Mirth. And then Edith Wharton, The Reef. A challenge to the moral climate of the day, the reef follows the fancies of George Dorrough, a young diplomat en route from London to France, intent on proposing to the widowed Anna Leith. Unsettled by Anna's reluctance, Darrow drifts into an affair with Sophie Vinner, a charmingly naive and young woman whose relations with Darrow and Anna's family threaten his prospects for success. Sounds like the modern tragedy by Dreisner. Then you have Edith Wharton, The Children. It's published in 1928. A comic, bittersweet novel about the misadventures of a bachelor and a band of precocious children. Edith Wharton, Twilight Sleep. Out of print for several decades, here's Edith Wharton's superb satirical novel of the Jazz Age, a critically praised bestseller when it was first published in 1927. Edith Wharton, The New Year's Day. Then there's a biography of Edith Wharton by Hermione Lee, very famous biography of her. And then there is the Edith Wharton Reader, edited by Louis Auchincloss. So yeah, I bought these one time. I was at a library used book sale in Zealand, and there were all these Edith Wharton books, and that's how I got most of these, especially the novels. There were a bunch of them. And then you have The End of the Age of Innocence, Edith Wharton and the First World War by Alan Price. Edith Wharton, Hudson River Bracketed. I haven't read Edith Wharton, I have to confess, but she's someone I've come across for many years, and I've always wanted to read her, so I've collected her writings over the years. And then you have Edith Wharton's The Custom of the Country, a novel. It's one of her major famous novels. Custom of the Country is a novel of New York and Parisian society at the turn of the century, when the barriers of blood, old acquaintance, and custom were broken by new wealth and ambition. There's a picture of Edith Wharton. She was a very wealthy society woman who lived mostly, I think, in France and Italy. And then there's an autobiography that Edith Wharton wrote, A Backward Glance, an autobiography by Edith Wharton. And then this is another famous novel, winner of the Pulitzer Prize, The Age of Innocence by Edith Wharton. There are more Edith Wharton books. Can't see them right now. Oh, here's one. These are bigger books, and they're on the third shelf. This is Edith Wharton, An Extraordinary Life, an illustrated biography by Eleanor Dwight. This is an illustrated biography on Edith Wharton by Eleanor Dwight. And then I have another biography by Louis Auchincloss, Edith Wharton, A Woman in Her Time. So those are in the third shelf. Is there anything else? There's The Brave Escape of Edith Wharton, a biography by Connie Noenham Wooldridge. I have that. And then another biography on Edith Wharton. This is a very famous biography on Edith Wharton by R.W.B. Lewis. So that's basically my Edith Wharton collection. Now we're back to the second shelf. This is A Portrait of a Lady by Henry James, a very famous novel. This is a novel that I read many years ago, and I keep telling myself I gotta reread it because it was one of my favorite novels when I was really young. Then we have Letters of Proust. This is his letters that we all know about Proust. And these, a book that my son Josiah gave me, The True Believer, Thoughts of the Nature of Mass Movements by Eric Hoffer. And then I have another book by Eric Hoffer, Working and Thinking on the Waterfront. He worked on the docks in San Francisco. He was like a social activist or political activist there in San Francisco. Let's see here. This is a novel that I was reading last month or a couple of months ago, and I got halfway through it and then I kind of got distracted. South, Journey to the South by Michael Alves, translated by Andrew Oakland. Yeah, I want to get back into this. I should get it out and finish it, because it's kind of a modernist, but I was really enjoying reading it when I was reading it, and then I got off into something else. Then these two books are by my brother. My brother, I'm the oldest of five. I have a brother after me named Mike. I have a sister, Robin, and another brother named Robert, and then I have a younger sister, Danielle. We're not all that close, but my brother, he is a photographer for the Washington Post, and he's just turned 65, 66, and we stay in contact on Facebook. But over the years, he's put books out. He's a photographer, and then he has a partner named Dale Melridge who does the writing. He's the writer, and my brother Mike does the photography, and he did this book with him. There's Mike with, Mike is the one with the camera. That's my brother Mike, and the guy with the cap is Dale. This came out, it's called Journey to Nowhere, The Saga of the New Underclass by Dale Melridge, photography by Michael Williamson. Michael Williamson's my brother. We had different fathers, so we have different last names, but Michael, this book was out of print, and one time the story goes that Bruce Springsteen saw it in a bookstore and he had it reprinted. He kind of pushed to have it reprinted. It's about homelessness in America. It's basically what it is. Homelessness. Anyway, and then they did another book. Well, this is the same thing. This is the first one, The Journey to Nowhere. And then Bruce Springsteen had it reprinted. Well, he pushed it somehow. And then after that is a book I got at Blue Stockings a while back. Alchemy and Mysticism by Alexander Robb. It's one of those, it's a very interesting book. Has all these kind of things in it. Alchemy and Mysticism. And here's another one of those kind of books from that publisher, Towson. They publish these kind of books. This is the North American Indian, the complete portfolios. Just pictures of Indians and Native Americans. Just photography. The Edward S. Curtis, The American Indian. See, that's what see it on the top. His name is up there, Edward Curtis. These are his photography. Very famous photographer of American Indians. I don't like to call him that, but I'm stuck with it. And then you have Art Nouveau. This is about Art Nouveau, the art and furniture and buildings and all kinds of things, jewelry. Sexuality and Western Art by Edward Lucy Smith. I got this at the Library Used book sale, Friends of the Library Used book sale recently. The Turkish Letters of, I can't pronounce the name, but I've shown this book. This is published by Louisiana State University Press. These letters took place in the 15th or 16th century. A diplomat going to Turkey. This is a book I showed you recently, Artificial Paradise. This is Artificial Paradise, a drug reader, edited by Mike J. It's all about drugs, psychedelics, opium, cocaine, LSD, marijuana. The Fifth Impossibility, Essays on Exile and Language. I was reading this, but I didn't get much into it. This is by Norman Mailer. Just bought this recently. This is another book. I bought this novel by Norman Mailer, translated out of, I think he was Romanian. This is The Black Envelope by Norman Mailer. I just want to read this, so I ordered it and bought it. The American Adam, Innocence, Tragedy, and Tradition in the 19th Century by R.W.B. Lewis, who wrote that Edith Wharton biography. Famous literary critic, literary historian. The Age of the Crisis of Man, Thought and Fiction, America, 1933 to 1973 by Mark Grief. I read this book every once in a while. I get it out and I read a section on it. Like this chapter 6, Ralph Edison and Saul Billow, History, Man and the Answers. Thomas Pynchon and Technology. Flannery O'Connor and Faith. Human Philosophy and Anti-Humanist Theory. 60s as a Big Bang. Looks like it's a very fascinating book, and it's by Mark Grief, Age of Crisis of Man. Nomads, a Hotel, Travels in Time and Space by C. Notenboom. This is another book I was reading recently. This is I Want to Keep Smashing Myself Until I'm Whole, an Ellis Canente reader, edited introduction by Joseph Cohen. I showed you this recently. I've been reading it. About halfway through this. I haven't picked up in a while. The Interior Circuit, Mexico City Chronicle by Francisco Goldman. This is, I was reading this a while back. I've been wanting to get back into this. It's by Verso Grove Press, published this. A Book of One's Own People and Their Diaries by Thomas Mullane. Legends of the Fall, a novel by Jim Harrison. Bibliophile's Devotional, 365 Days of Literary Classics by Haley Ephron. Art and Architect by Muz Derez. I think this is like an art book. I think it's what's all in this museum there in France, something like that. Picked it up somewhere over the years. The Saddest Words, William Faulkner's Civil War by Michael Guerra. Then I have Art and Architect in Venice. Bonnie Jo Campbell's Once Upon a River, one of my favorite writers here in Michigan, Bonnie Jo Campbell. I think this was made into a movie recently, Once Upon a River. And then there is Alan Stiltoe, a very famous novel, Loneliness of a Long Distance Runner. So these are the books in the second bookcase. Thought I'd just show them to you. This video is going to run out any minute. So yeah, I don't list these books below the video, but if you want to know anything about them or repeat the title, just leave a note or a comment below. So I hope you're having a good reading week. Today is a Friday. I'm supposed to get a book in the mail, a biography on Cecil Benton, who I've been reading about, part of the Bloomsbury group back there in the 20s. He was a very famous photographer. And anyway, I just thought I'd show you the second shelf of the bookcase in the living room. Hoping you're having a good reading week. Have a good reading weekend. And until next time, bye.